So I've noticed that people are still making videos about Don't Me, I'm Scared. And it came out a while ago. The web series and the TV series that aired in the UK. So I personally still watch it because I just think it's a good series. There's a few internet horrors that when I was younger I didn't really pay attention to or watch, like Sudokin, Jack Stober, any of the My Little Pony stuff like Cupcakes and all that nonsense. Even if there's there's analog horror, there's like the Mandela effect and stuff like that, and I've watched that because I can just turn off the video and listen to the audio. But I have watched the whole thing. But I think I keep going back to that because I like Puppeteer. I just like watching things like that because I went to, well, when I was younger, I watched puppets because I would watch Fraggle Rock and I would watch, well, my younger brother watches Baby Muppets and the Muppets in general, but I think it's how I grew up with learning about Jim Henson and me going to the Jim Henson, the high school that he went to. They would always call or address it as the Jim Henson School of Arts. So I was in the visual and performance program, and I ended up being in the visual arts instead of theater like I wanted to be, just because of because at first you could choose two topics that you wanted to do, like if you wanted to do theater and choir, or theater and visual arts, or mix and match the three. And then there's also media and production, which I was kind of interested in just on the fact that I wrote stories and I wanted to make them into movies, because I was like, oh, I write a lot and I want to make my I want to make videos and make them into movies, like short films, let's say. So that's where my interest from DHMIS is. But I find myself rewatching it, even though there is a grotesque horror about it. Even in the very first episode, the web series particularly, that they set it up. One, the puppets are really grotesque. Red guy looks the same because he's just a person in a suit. But Duck, and first he's a green duck. I've never seen a green duck, and don't tell me there's a green duck because I don't know if there's green ducks and I haven't seen one, so that looks odd. His face is really flattened and deformed. But I think the main thing is for a yellow guy, because his face, the creases of where his face is, because he is a puppet, so that he can move his mouth, is just oddly creepy to me, which adds to the surreal horror. I like how it improves in the web series because sure, you can still see the mouth joints of him being a puppet and being able to move his mouth, but also when I look at other people's analyses or listen to them, or analyze, they're always trying to break it down of what it means, and I think I want to break it down from an artistic standpoint. I'm still gonna say my opinion or how I feel about each episode, because there are some that I like more than others. And since it's going to take me a while to search this up, and I don't have any video splicing thing, so I'm about to clear this and look up, because I've looked it up before. Hold on, let's see. And I'm gonna have it on mute, which will probably make it more creepy. Because there's 12 episodes. I remember when I was watching it at first, I was in high school. That's when I first started watching it. I would watch it literally daily, and my friends got kind of like annoyed by it, but my siblings got interested in it just because of the songs. So they would sing the songs not knowing what it's from. But I really like how they I think the main thing of them reusing props is just because it's a small like set and whatever, and they made everything themselves. But I think as far as the characters, at first it's like, oh, you're just getting used to them, and Doug's just like, hold on, let me play this. Okay, so that line, Doug saying it's just a boring orange, 11 years ago when it was first made, it didn't really, make anything, like it wasn't anything. No one knew that his character would stay like this. In the series, Doug is like very arrogant, very know-it-all, very like obtuse about anything, like, and I feel like having the characters balance each other out, like the guy is egotistical and arrogant, he's obtuse. Red guy is obtuse, but just because he's like more matured than all of them, and then, or just doesn't want to be there. And then for yellow guy, he's like childhood naivete, and he's just like going along with it. I feel like for the first episode, I know it's talking about creativity, but I'm gonna put it towards something that I was talking about in college. So, hold on, let me show. Okay, wait, I'm gonna go back. Okay, so at this part, when the notepad is teaching about creativity, in my rhetorics class, we were talking about how creativity should be taught in college, because there's like, and like how creativity is taught like properly, and just how to incorporate like being creativity into the curriculum for students. And a lot of people were talking about it's hard to, like, it's easy in elementary school because you're just like, okay, this is art, this is the elements, and here's how you make a successful picture, or this is the assignment, and this is what you have to recreate. But it's really hard to say, even for like me and the people who are in my art program at high school, for example, of just how to have a career in the arts, because people are always like, you always have to have a backup option because art isn't really stable, and the idea of a starving artist, my sister is always making jokes to me. She's like, you're gonna come back to me and end up needing help because you're gonna be a starving artist just because my art isn't good, and like I haven't gotten it out there. But the thing is that there's people who are good at art and still struggling. Like a lot of painters and famous artists didn't get well known and like until after they were dead. So that's what is important to me about this episode. I think since this is near video links. I'll do one video on each topic, but I wanted to touch on the creativity part is because at the end, and I'm gonna skip through it because I don't like how creepy it is, and I don't want to see that. Okay. Okay. What is this? And now let's. Where is it? Oh, okay. I think it's like here. Okay, and then. Come on. Oh, well, that's the creepy part, sure.
Now let's all agree to never be creative again.
Okay, this part I think is important because it's really hard to teach creativity, even in college. My professor, Russ Bellamy, he's like, well, I want everyone to have a philosophical view on art because also art is to the beholder, yes, but teaching art is also really hard because hold on, let me try to pause this. Stop. Okay. Stop it. Okay. So he's like, I'm trying to teach you guys like the basics, the fundamentals of art, but I can't necessarily teach you if your art is good or bad, if your art is right or wrong. And that's what grade school gets wrong, is that it's a it's a grade based thing if you do art. I remember in my first art class in middle school, the teacher was like, it was widely known that the teacher didn't have an art degree, but she was able to do art, so she was able to teach it. But what happened is that she wanted us to draw a self portrait of herself, and then put an inscription next to it of why we drew ourselves like this, which makes sense. It could be about our self image, or even why we decided to draw ourselves as a particular cartoon style, if it was realistic, or even just teaching us the basics of how to draw a person. So she drew hers as an example as a stick figure, and she was like, okay, well, this is just like me, this is how I'm drawing myself. And then I was like, even if you doodle, can you like do something realistic and not just do a circle with like. And then she was like, no, because I don't know how to like really draw past that. And then when she came over to me and I was drawing myself realistically, she was like, no, I told you to draw yourself how you see yourself. And I'm like, that's how I am. But even from like that earliest memory I have of just being corrected like that, just because you don't know how to draw doesn't mean I have to not draw realistically. And then fast forward through middle school, the art teachers would constantly get I think the word is chastised, or like just disrespected in general by the students because they didn't know. Either the students didn't want to do art, or the teachers were like, oh, I'm trying to get you to do this in your assignment, and they would just not listen, which is a different thing. But also just having something up on the board and having to draw it exactly like that for your assignment, and already limits the creativity that we're supposed to have in the classroom. If you're saying, hey, draw this, and I can't draw the abstract, or I can't use cubism, or I can't use surrealism, then that limits my creativity and makes it only what you want me to do. So I feel like there's there's art taught in the school system, but it's very rigid. And that's the lesson that I took away from the first episode. And there is 11 more to go.